You are sitting in front of your screen right now, perhaps with a cup of coffee, thinking that you are in total control of your digital life. You bought your computer, you pay for your internet, and you choose which websites to visit. But what if I told you that while you are watching this, your American-designed operating system is silently taking notes on every move you make? It is not just about your browsing history or the files you save. It goes much deeper. Right now, there are three specific settings buried deep within your system menu that are practically shouting your private life to servers across the ocean. These are not features designed to help you. They are surveillance pipelines designed to turn your personality into a data product. And there is a reason we need to talk about this before Friday. As updates roll out and new terms of service are pushed through silently in the background, your window to reclaim your privacy is closing faster than you think. If you value your anonymity, and you want to stop being a guest in your own hardware, you need to listen closely to what is happening behind the desktop wallpaper. Most people assume that when they buy a computer from a major American tech giant, they are buying a tool. In reality, you are often buying a tracking device that happened to have a keyboard attached. For years, the major players in the tech industry have been moving away from a product-based model to a data harvesting model. They don't want your $500 for the software license once every 5 years. They want your behavioral data every single second of every single day. They want to know how long you hover your mouse over a specific button, what time of day you are most active, and even the unique way you type on your keys. This is all part of a massive ecosystem of telemetry that has become the standard in modern computing. But here is the catch. They don't call it spying. They call it professional diagnostics or enhanced user experience. It sounds helpful, almost friendly, but the technical reality is far more intrusive. Let us get straight into the first and perhaps most alarming setting that you need to find and disable immediately. This is what many tech enthusiasts call the activity history, or the timeline feature. On the surface, it is marketed as a convenient way to jump back to what you were doing yesterday or last week. It shows you a nice visual layout of your previous tasks. But to make this work, your computer is essentially recording every single window you open, every document you read, and every application you launch. It then bundles this information and, unless you have specifically navigated through 5 layers of privacy menus to stop it, it uploads a summary of this behavior to the cloud. Imagine if a stranger stood behind you with a camera and took a photograph of your screen every 5 minutes, then put those photos in a folder that they owned. You would find that terrifying. Yet millions of people have this setting turned on by default, allowing the software manufacturer to build a perfect chronological map of their entire digital life. When this data moves from your local hard drive to a remote server, you lose legal control over it. It becomes part of a corporate database that can be analyzed by artificial intelligence to predict your future behavior, your financial status, and even your political leanings. By disabling activity history and clearing your cloud-stored data, you are cutting off one of the primary arteries of this data flow. The second setting is one that most users never even think to check because it sounds so technical and boring. It is the advertising ID and personalized experiences setting. Every single installation of a modern American operating system comes with a unique identifier that is tied specifically to you as a person. This is not just a serial number for your hardware. It is a tracking beacon for advertisers. When you browse the web or use apps from the official store, this ID is shared with third-party partners. They use it to stitch together a profile of who you are across different platforms. Even if you use a private browser window, if your operating system level advertising ID is active, you are still being followed. The computer is literally telling the world, hey, this is the same guy who was looking at luxury watches 5 minutes ago and who also just opened a banking app. It creates a digital fingerprint that is nearly impossible to erase unless you go into the privacy settings and reset that ID or, better yet, disable the ability for apps to use it entirely. When you turn this off, you aren't just seeing fewer targeted ads, you are making yourself much harder to track in the vast marketplace of data brokers. These brokers are companies you have never heard of, that own thousands of data points on almost every adult in the Western world. They buy this information from your operating system provider to create a digital twin of you. Stopping that ID from broadcasting is like putting on a mask in a city full of facial recognition cameras. Now we need to talk about the third and most deceptive setting of all, which is the feedback and diagnostics frequency. This one is often hidden under the guise of helping the developer fix bugs and improve the software. When you set this to full or enhanced, you aren't just sending technical error reports. You are often giving the system permission to send snapshots of your system state, including which peripherals you use, your location data, and even fragments of memory if an app happens to crash. In some cases, this telemetry can even include information about the websites you are visiting if you are using the default system browser. The most frustrating part is that many of these systems are designed to make it very difficult to select the basic level of data sharing. They use dark patterns, which are manipulative user interface designs, to trick you into clicking Accept All or keeping the most intrusive settings active. They might tell you that your system will be less stable or that you won't get the latest features if you turn off telemetry. This is almost never true. Your computer will run just fine, and in many cases it will actually run faster because it isn't constantly using your CPU and your internet bandwidth to upload massive logs of your behavior to a server in Virginia or California. By switching your diagnostics to the absolute minimum allowed, you are reclaiming the resources of your own machine. Some people might ask, why does this matter before Friday? The tech world operates on a cycle of silent updates. Frequently, at the end of the week or during scheduled maintenance windows, these companies push out what they call service improvements. These updates often have the annoying habit of resetting certain privacy choices you have made, or introducing new, even more aggressive tracking features under new names. If you don't audit your settings now, you might find that the next time your computer restarts, the walls have moved and you are being monitored in ways you didn't even agree to. There is an ongoing arms race between privacy-conscious users and the billion-dollar corporations that want to monetize your attention. If you aren't actively defending your digital borders, they will be crossed. One thing that the average user doesn't realize is how these three settings work in tandem. It is called data triangulation. If they have your activity history, they know what you do. If they have your advertising ID, they know who you are to the market. If they have your diagnostic data, they know exactly what kind of hardware and software environment you live in. When you combine these three, the company doesn't just have a vague idea of a user, they have a high-definition portrait of a human being. They can tell when you are feeling stressed based on how you interact with the interface. They can tell when you are about to make a purchase. They can even infer your health status. This information is incredibly valuable, which is why they make it so hard to turn off. They want to make the process of opting out as tedious as possible so that 99% of people just give up and leave the default settings on. But you are not the average user. You are someone who understands that your privacy is a fundamental right, not a luxury that you should have to beg for. Let us look at the broader picture of why this is happening. American tech companies are under immense pressure to show constant growth to their shareholders. When everyone already owns a computer and everyone already uses the software, how do they keep growing? They do it by mining the users. You are no longer the customer. You are the raw material. Every click, every search, every minute spent on the computer is an asset to be harvested. This is often referred to as surveillance capitalism. In this system, the goal is to create a seamless loop where the computer predicts what you want before you even know you want it. While that might sound like science fiction convenience, it actually means that your autonomy is being eroded. You are being nudged, influenced, and steered by algorithms that are fed by the very data your computer is spying on right now. There is also the issue of security. When your computer collects all this data and stores it in the cloud, it creates a massive target. Even if you trust the company not to do anything malicious with your data, you cannot guarantee that their servers will never be breached. We have seen time and time again that even the biggest tech giants are vulnerable to sophisticated hackers. If a malicious actor gets access to the diagnostic logs or the activity history that has been uploaded to the cloud, they have a blueprint for your entire life. They know your habits, your connections, and your vulnerabilities. The safest way to protect your data is to ensure that it never leaves your device in the first place. By disabling these settings, you are practicing what is called data minimization. If the data doesn't exist on their servers, it cannot be stolen from them. But wait, it gets even more complicated. There is a feature often called search integration. It means that when you click your start menu or your search bar to find a file on your own hard drive, the computer also sends that search query to the internet to get web results. This means that every time you look for a private folder or a personal document, you are effectively telling a search engine what you are looking for. It is a massive breach of the boundary between your local, private offline world and the public online world. This should be a setting that you have to opt into, but in almost every major American operating system, it is turned on by default. It makes the search experience feel sluggish because it is waiting for an internet response, and it leaks your private thoughts to the web. Disabling web results in your local search is a huge step toward making your computer feel like a private workspace again. Now, let us talk about your voice. Many modern computers come with voice assistants that are always listening for a wake word. To do this, the microphone has to be active. While the companies claim that nothing is recorded until you say the magic word, we have seen numerous reports and leaks showing that these devices often trigger accidentally and send snippets of private conversations to the cloud for human review. Why would you want a live microphone connected to a third-party server in your office or your bedroom? Unless you are someone who absolutely relies on voice commands for accessibility, this is a feature that provides very little benefit compared to the massive privacy risk it poses. Turning off the online speech recognition features is one of the most effective ways to stop the physical spying that can happen in your home. It is also worth checking your location services. Your computer has a very good idea of where you are based on the Wi-Fi networks around you. It uses this to give you local weather or time zone updates, but it also keeps a history of where you have been. This location data is gold for advertisers and data brokers. If your computer is a laptop that you take to work, to the coffee shop, and to your friend's house, it is creating a GPS-style map of your entire life. You can go into the location privacy settings and not only turn off the service, but also clear the location history that has already been stored. Most of the time, you don't need your computer to know exactly where you are sitting. You can just type in your zip code manually if you want to know the weather. As we approach Friday, you might notice more pop-ups than usual. These are often designed to get you to re-enable the settings you just turned off. They might say, "Finish setting up your device," or "Let us help you get the most out of your experience." These are invitations to go back to the surveillance state. You have to be disciplined. Don't just click through menus to make them go away. Read what they are asking. If they are asking for permission to use your data for personalized ads or diagnostic reporting, the answer should always be no. It is your machine. You paid for it. You shouldn't have to trade your soul to use a digital calculator. The reality of the tech industry today is that privacy is something you have to fight for. It is no longer the default state. The default state is total transparency for the user and total secrecy for the corporation. By taking these steps, you are participating in a movement of people who are saying enough is enough. We want our technology to serve us, not the other way around. We want tools that respect our boundaries. Every time one of us goes into the settings and flips those switches to off, it sends a tiny signal to the developers. If enough of us do it, they will eventually have to realize that privacy is a feature that users actually want. Another area of concern is the sync settings. Many systems want you to sign in with a global account so that your settings, your passwords, and your tabs are the same on every device. This sounds great for convenience, but it means that the company has a centralized master key to your digital existence. If that account is compromised, everything is gone. Consider using local accounts whenever possible. A local account stays on your computer. It doesn't upload your profile picture and your personal details to a server. It keeps your computer as a standalone unit, which is much more secure and private. It prevents the company from linking your computer usage with your mobile phone usage and your tablet usage into one giant, inescapable profile. We also have to consider the apps that come pre-installed. These are often called bloatware. Many of these apps are not there to be useful. They are there because the app developer paid the operating system manufacturer to be there. These apps often have their own tracking and their own telemetry. They might be running in the background right now even if you have never opened them. Spend some time going through your installed programs list and removing anything you don't use. If you didn't install it and it doesn't look vital for the system, it probably doesn't need to be there. Each one of these apps is a potential hole in your privacy shield. The trend for 2026 and beyond is clearly moving toward integrated artificial intelligence within the operating system itself. This AI needs data to learn, and the easiest place for it to get that data is from you. Some of the newest features being announced involve the computer taking constant screenshots and using AI to index everything you have ever seen on your screen so you can search for it later. This is perhaps the most intrusive feature ever imagined in the history of computing. If you allow your computer to record everything you do to feed an AI, you are essentially giving up any expectation of privacy forever. You have to be extremely vigilant about these new AI-driven features. Turn them off the moment they appear. The convenience of being able to find a specific cat picture you saw 3 weeks ago is not worth having a permanent, searchable record of every private message, every bank statement, and every sensitive document that has ever touched your screen. It is important to remember that these tech companies aren't necessarily evil. They are just responding to incentives. Privacy doesn't pay the bills in the world of Wall Street. Data does. Therefore, you cannot expect the companies to protect you out of the goodness of their hearts. You have to be your own advocate. You have to be the one who takes 10 minutes out of your day to go through the privacy dashboard. It is a small investment of time that pays off in the long run by protecting your identity and your digital autonomy. To wrap this up, remember the 3 main pillars we discussed today. First, kill the activity history and the cloud timeline. Stop your computer from keeping a diary of your life. Second, reset and disable your advertising ID. Don't give the data brokers a name tag to follow you around the internet. Third, set your diagnostic and feedback settings to the absolute minimum. Stop your computer from sending home logs of your system's inner workings. Once you have done these 3 things, you have already made yourself more private than 90% of the population. But don't stop there. Check your location settings. Disable your always-on microphone if you don't use it, and be wary of any new AI-powered features that want to record your screen. The tech landscape is changing fast, and the tools of surveillance are becoming more sophisticated every day. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and never assume that a setting is in your favor just because it's the default. Your computer is a powerful tool, but it should be a tool that works for you, and only you. By taking control today, you are ensuring that your digital future remains in your own hands. Don't wait for Friday's update to change the rules on you again. Dive into those settings right now and close the door on the spies in your machine. You will feel a lot better knowing that your private life is actually staying private. Your data belongs to you, and it is time you started acting like it. Keep your eyes open, because the next update is always just around the corner.